Hey, how's it going everyone? So today I wanted to share with you exactly how I ended up taking my desk setup from looking like this, which I'm sure many of you can probably relate to. There's cables everywhere, there's the power strip dangling on the floor, to an absolute masterpiece of a cable management job that you see behind me right here. It is magnificent. We deleted every cable in the setup and it turned out looking super clean, super tidy. There's no cables dangling on the floor. Your robot vacuum cleaner can roam around freely without eating all of your cables and breaking your setup. So let me walk you through exactly how I've pulled this off, and more importantly, how you can do the exact same thing at home and fix your own cable management with relative ease. This really isn't too difficult. It may take a little bit of time depending on how many wires you have to manage. In this case, this is a catastrophic amount of cables to manage, but if I can do it in a worst case scenario like this, I'm sure you can do it as well. And as always, I'll leave links to every one of the cable management products I used in today's video down below in the description for you guys, including of course my very own Velcro cable ties. And with that said, let's put on the POV cam and walk you through step by step on how we pull this off. Now, first of all, let me show you exactly how I've powered everything here in the setup using just 4 power cables. Bear in mind, we have 3 monitors, each needing a power cable, an actual PC build, an LED light strip. We have a soundbar that needs its own dedicated power supply behind the middle monitor here. We have the 7th and final device needing its own power source, which is underneath the table right here, this Ugreen 200 watt USB-C charger. And I've managed to only use just 4 out of the 8 sockets on the power strip underneath my table to power everything. So let me show you underneath what's actually going on. So we have the actual 8 socket power strip here, surge protected. This is rated for 240 volts at 13 amps, which equals to around 3000 watts of power that we could put through this thing before we'd have a problem. Now, luckily, I'm nowhere near that limit. In fact, in terms of peak wattage, if we're redlining the graphics card and the CPU, we've got lights everywhere, we'll really only ever get to around 1000 watts in total across the whole setup, which is well below the limit, and that's peak power. So typically when you're idling, you're nowhere near that. So yeah, in terms of power, we're all good. We're not daisy chaining power strips into one another anymore. This is a much improved solution. Now, getting back to how we cut down from 7 power cords to just 4, we ended up using power splitter cables. So these 2 are actually standard normal power cables. This powers the PC build and only the PC build via a C13 power cord. This powers the Govee M1 LED light strip underneath my table via a C7 power cord right here. However, this one is a power splitter cable. Now, the reason I've used these is to cut down on excess cables and to really just simplify the cable management work. And my God, has it been an enormous help cutting down from 7 power cords to just 4. There's less cables, less excess stuff I have to stuff away into these J channels. So anyway, we have this cable here that goes into the black J channel and eventually makes its way out as 2 cables, one of them being a C5 to power the Ugreen charger and the other one being a C7 to power the power brick for the actual soundbar behind the middle monitor. Then finally we have the 3rd cable, which is a 3-way splitter. This goes once again into the black J channel, goes all the way through here, and you can see the actual splitter part right here. So this terminates from 1 power cord into 3. 2 of them are C13 power cords to power each of the MSI monitors on either side, and then the 3rd one is the middle monitor, which goes all the way through here and plugs directly into the Razer monitor's power brick, which then goes into a DC connection and finally plugs into the monitor as well. But yeah, that's pretty much how everything here is powered. Just 2 power splitter cables and then 2 normal cables. They do it all, man. Now, instead of using double-sided sticky tape to stick all of this stuff to the bottom of my table, I've instead used double-sided Velcro to do basically the exact same thing, but this results in a reusable solution. So I can easily remove my entire power strip and swap it out for a different one if I ever wanted to. And the same goes for everything underneath here. All of it is easily removable because everything here is velcroed to the bottom of the table. Basically, all of the black J channels underneath here only have power cables inside of them, and then all of the white ones only have USB cables and display cables, which makes removing things a little bit easier. You can actually take cables out and replace things with relative ease. And as we make our way through to this other end of the table, you see the white power cord coming from the extension lead all the way behind this table leg here with some cable clips holding that single wire in place. And then we have some cable trunking right here as well. So we're going to install the rest of the power cable into this cable trunking, since I don't really want this cable on the floor. Instead, I'd rather have it in some cable trunking, which can be easily set up just like this. Then I've ended up sticking some command strips on the back of this, and all we got to do is stick this to the wall here, and pretty much all of the cables are completely hidden then. This is the final bit here. Well, now that we've got all the power cables out of the way, the rest of this stuff is really quite straightforward. I've used a combination of cable clips for the LED light strip behind the table right here. The reason I like these is that I don't ever have to use the normal adhesive that comes on the back of an LED light strip, for example. I instead just install the light strip into these cable clips, and it seems to actually hold the light strips way better than it normally would without the adhesive melting. So if you are someone that tends to swap their LED light strip behind their table quite often, or you're just looking for something to hold your LED light strip a little bit better, I would highly recommend these LED light strip clips. They're really good. I've used them for years and they've not let me down, man. And apart from that, we got some single cable clips right here that are adjustable. We got some Velcro, some J channels, some magnetic tape, and of course normal Velcro cable ties. The only other bit of cable management equipment I've used is this table grommet right here, just two plastic ones, one on either side. And yeah, it just makes this hole look a little bit more tidy. I've drilled a hole through the table to route my keyboard wire through, as well as my mouse mat wire. They go underneath, and in this case also through the mouse mat, and then eventually make their way down through the table into straight away some J channels, and then that makes its way over to the PC build. Then we have my microphone with a USB-C cable that's been cable tied to the microphone arm, and this eventually makes its way down through here, and of course eventually makes its way into the actual PC. If we take a look at what's going on behind the monitors, there are no cables running directly into the monitor arms. That is an option you could do, which could definitely work depending on what kind of setup you're running. I've just got these monitors on some base mounted arms that are in the color white to sort of blend into the wall a little bit and stick out a little bit less, because I've kept my Razer monitor stand and not mounted this Razer monitor on a Vaser arm, because I quite like pairing this Razer monitor with this Lumetric time clock that you can see right there. I think they just look really good together. And if we take a look at what's going on behind this monitor, if I just take this soundbar out of the way, you can see all of the cables running through here. Some of them are Velcro cable tied to the monitor arm just to make sure they don't dangle anywhere. And yeah, it's all pretty straightforward. Taking a look behind the PC build here, everything is Velcro cable tied together and then neatly runs down the corner of this table into, of course, all of the peripherals and the power cables. And then right here, I have a USB-C expansion hub that I've mounted some magnetic tape onto so that I can easily attach it onto my table leg. Now, the reason I installed this here is because a couple of my USB cables were a little bit too short, and instead of plugging each one of these into a USB-A extension cable and then running it directly into the back of my motherboard, because all three of these are basically low power devices with pretty much hardly any data going through them, I've just plugged them into a USB-C hub, stuck that right here, and then I don't have three extra USB cables running up through here and plugging into the back of the PC. This basically just keeps things a little bit more clean. Over here as well, I've ended up using some wide cables to try and blend them into the desk a little bit more for the Razer Mouse Dock Pro, as well as the Razer wireless phone charger, both of which are actually compatible with this mouse. So I could put my mouse on there and it will begin charging, and I can also put my mouse on here and then it will also begin charging, but that's just sort of like a dedicated mouse charging dock. And then this I typically use to just dock my phone onto and let it charge there. And if we take a look underneath the table, we have an SD card reader that is magnetically attached onto the table as well. And this one here, in terms of cable management, is super simple. There's just a cable clip here holding it and then a J channel running all the way back to the PC build. And then of course, you've probably also noticed this entire contraption. So this is just a 200-watt USB power supply. Basically, there's 4 USB-Cs and 2 USB-As. This can charge 2 MacBooks at the same time at 100 watts each. So it's a pretty powerful thing. I'm not using it to charge MacBooks right now. In fact, I'm just using it to power my own TechBlock chargers right here that are fully retractable. You've probably seen these in my videos before. And then we also have the Lumetric time clock powered by this, as well as the Razer wireless charger. And then you might also notice right here, I've wrapped these cables together and stuck them onto the Velcro right here with my very own Velcro cable tie. And that actually works really well when you use them like this. So technically you could skip buying the plastic cable clips and just use Velcro cable ties and, you know, Velcro stuck to your actual table, and that would work as well. And then over here we of course have a headset holder underneath the table, and then the primary reason I have this TechBlock retractable magnetic charger is to charge my actual headphones just like this. It's dead simple, just magnetically attach it onto there, and when you're done with it you can pop the cable away. These should be available this year. If they are, there should be links to where you can buy them in the video description down below. But if they're not there, then that means the product is not yet for sale. But when it will be for sale, it will probably just be a UK only beta test. There's 2 versions of these that should be available sometime down the line as well. This is just the more basic version, and then I should have a much more higher end, high wattage version coming out as well in the future. But for now, this is really the only version of the product I feel comfortable selling because of how reliable these have been for myself, and hopefully when you guys pick these up, because I know so many of you want to buy these, so I'll try my best to keep these in stock and keep restocking these so more people can get their hands on these cool chargers. Anyway though, with all that said, thank you very much for watching as always. Hopefully this video has given you some ideas on how to improve your very own cable management and get it to a godlike level, like what you see behind me right here. And of course, I'll leave links to every single product in this actual desk setup down below in the video description, as well as, of course, all of the cable management gear that I've showcased as well. But yeah, I hope to see you guys in another video soon, which will probably be about the LED lighting that we're going to be setting up all throughout the office with some GODLIKE, and I think they should be sending me some of their GODLIKE Y LED lighting kits, which hopefully we'll also put together a giveaway of. But yeah, I'll see you guys then.